Hi guys, Arthur here from Homeowner DIY. Guys, this is your quick tip of the week. So what you see here is a tub with a galvanized trap. Now this galvanized trap is so tight that you can't get a cable, a snake through it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut in a cleanout on the back side of the vent. So this will be serviceable in the future. So this is a flex coupling at the top of the two bands. That will act as a cleanout. We have our trap and then our vent. But you can't get a cable through the trap because it's too tight. But what we're going to do is look at some old school plumbing here. So this is a combination of galvanized steel and bell and spigot cast iron. So these are a couple vents, a tub vent, I think a laundry vent on the other side, and then it continues upstairs. It may go to a sink, I don't know. And now looking off to the right, we have the trap arm for the tub, and then the vertical stack, which is bell and spigot. The plan is to cut a clean out to the right of the wall. You see the strap coming down from the joist, and then I'm going to strap up the joist to the right, and then that's where the clean out will be cut in. So with that in mind, what we'll do now is material and tools. All right, this is the materials and tools list for this job. So I have an 1.5" line clean out, 1.5" pipe, ABS glue. I have 2.5" Fencos, also known as flex couplings, 1/2" steel strap, number 8 by 1" screws. And then for tools, I have my cordless kit in the back, so I'll need the grinder, probably the impact as well, hacksaw. For safety equipment, earplugs, safety glasses, a towel that I'm going to soak down, so it will be a wet towel for any sparks. And then I have my pouch. So hand tools, measuring tape, pencil. We'll see if I need anything else. But guys, this is the materials and tools list for this job. So let's cut in this clean out. I'm going to put the clean out close to the Y, close to the trap. I think it's going to be better if it's closer for serviceability. And I'm just holding up the clean out and using a crayon to make some marks for where I want to put it. Now, before cutting anything, this is the time to strap up the trap arm so everything is going to be nice and solid. It's not going to move on you when you go ahead to cut the pipe. I'm using 1/2" steel strap. I think the screw would pull out of the joist before the snap breaks, so using 1/2" or 3/4, I don't think it's going to matter in this case, but make sure that you're using at least 1" screws so you have a nice solid bite into the joist above. So I strapped up the trap arm and you see the two marks. That is where the clean out is going to be cut in. Since I'm using a 3.5" or a 4.5" grinding disc, it's not going to be big enough to go all the way through the pipe. So I'm going to cut both sides and then cut a horizontal slit and then remove chunks of pipe so I can get the grinder all the way through. Now, of course, before you even get started with the grinder, make sure that you put on your safety glasses and earplugs. This can take you a little while because it's a steel pipe. For the second cut, you see water dripping from the pipe. That means that there is a partial blockage because there's no reason to have water in the pipe. I've cut both sides of the pipe as far as I can go with the grinder, so I'm cutting horizontally now. And the idea will be to break out a chunk of the pipe in the middle so I can fit the grinder the rest of the way. This is a cutaway section of the pipe. You see the amount of buildup. I'm even surprised. So this is hair and soap, and because this is galvanized pipe, it's coarse on the inside, so it's going to accumulate faster than plastic would. But I'm going to go ahead and finish cutting this all the way through, and I'm going to clean this out as I go. So I've cut through the rest of the pipe. I'm going to use a hammer to tap the flex coupling, the Fenco, until I see metal sticking out the other side, and then the clean out can be put in and then the bands tightened up. Now with the clean out in, the bands can be tightened up. So first of all, for the clean out, have it up over center line so when it's actually being used, you're not going to have water dripping down the whole time. The next thing is for the bands, make sure everything is roughly in the same spot. It's going to look nicer when everything is symmetrical opposed to having it all over the place. I'm using a nut driver, and then I'll just go with a ratchet. You can also use an impact with a 5/16 socket. But just tighten up the bands until you start to feel some resistance. As long as it holds water on test, it's fine. But if you tighten up the bands too much and you snap them, then you need to go get a new band because it's not fixable. So I took a snake and I cleaned out both ends of the pipe. Now for the tub, fill it up about a third of the way and then pop it, and you're going to just check for any leaks around the bands. As long as everything is fine, then you're now good to go. To end the video, this is bell and spigot and galvanized. This house is probably about 80 years old, but this is the old school plumbing. This stuff will last longer than anything that is modern nowadays that is plastic. So the tub is now back up and running and is serviceable. Guys, that is your quick tip of the week.